Welcome to the Expert Speaker podcast. We have image strategist and consultant Zayna Rose. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. We're talking about fashion. We're talking about what to wear to feel fabulous, to be on brand. And there's something called an offer outfit that I'm really excited about because as speakers, we get on stage and we think about things like what's the temperature in the room supposed to be and what's the lighting supposed to be and what do I do on stage that's going to drive the most sales? But rarely, I think, do we think about clothing strategically. So I'm really excited to talk to you about that. I'm also a single, handsome male going on dates, and I'm wondering, what do I wear there? So let's talk all things clothes, fashion, business, strategy. Let's go start at your origin. How did you become the image strategist?
I had originally thought I would, growing up, I was not exposed to a lot of entrepreneurial options, things like that. I just, thought, okay, what's of the normal things, so-called normal professions to choose or, regular pathways. I've always loved people. I've been really good with people. And I had thought I would become a psychologist. And I did in, undergrad, not master's level, study psychology. And I tried an internship in neuropsychology. And while I loved the material and the helping people aspect, I just decided I didn't want to spend much time in the clinical physical setting. And so I started just asked myself to be open. And I started just getting into the idea of consulting in general. And then specifically, I've been doing this many years, but I graduated not being sure what I would do from university. And I came across a movie called The Kid. And that is a Disney movie starring Bruce Willis. And he is an image consultant in this movie. And yeah, so I am more gentle than his character, but he does in this movie, there's a fascinating combination of things he's doing. And I have built that for myself now, but that was where I got the idea. And it is a great combination of things. You're helping people every day in different ways. You get to have fun doing it. I write, speak, consult, create digital content. You get to make it an extension of who you are yourself and what you'd like to do day to day.
And give me some examples of the kinds of clients you work with.
Well, since I'm here, I should mention many speakers and also many people who speak sometimes, but may not identify as full-time speakers. But over the years, I have good experiences helping people from lots of professional backgrounds. So I've helped scientists, I've helped doctors, I've helped fine artists, I've helped communications professionals, performers. I helped a nun once and a monk once by get ready to film some meditation content. So it could be anything from a performer stepping out on stage to like a different type of presenter, or a lot of people also come around to me because they're in some type of transition. So you mentioned dating. That's one of the big ones. And that's one of my favorite ones because it's so exciting to help people just love how they look, because it's, everyone knows how connected it is to how we feel, and it's connected to our confidence. So there are personal transitions, like some people have lost a lot of weight and they do see themselves differently and want to do the things for their life that are also more practical. So that might be they need a makeover and want a makeover, like a visual makeover. It could also be moved to a new place or just hit a certain age and want to feel as youthful and yourself as possible. So many different reasons. And that's part of why I like it. It's the variety of the challenges and the circumstances. And even when it is about clothing and style, it's always, to me, about the person, how they see themselves. How do you help them be seen the way they want to be seen, even if that's never happened before? So there's that. And then if the person has a professional life, whether they're an entrepreneur, business owner or not, there is always this element at play of a public image, whether we are conscious of it or not, whether we enjoy that idea or not. I do know a small handful of people who don't use social media and they truly don't have a public image, but everyone else of the thousands of people that I know, I think, have one.
Yeah. Been thinking about how the pandemic might have influenced fashion, because for a while there, we weren't leaving the house and it was sweatpants. And I feel like I'm getting out more now, like more things are happening here in Ottawa, events, and like I haven't worn a tie in I don't know how long. But a lot of my stuff is on Zoom. And
Mm.
what I notice, sometimes I'll wear a suit even at home. Not when I'm just working for myself, but if I'm on camera, I'll put on a suit jacket, and it definitely changes how I feel. So what advice do you give to people to put themselves in their highest performing state as it pertains to clothes?
Yeah, great question. And there's the one thing that I do want to say up front is that you can do it in 5 minutes if you
Mm,
have sorted yourself out at some point. And something that I did that it's not anywhere to be found at the moment, but I had done, I created a little training called Go From Sloppy Mess to Camera Ready in 5 minutes or less, because I just believe that, and you can do that for yourself, but just take that idea with you, because I don't think it needs to take longer than that. Even if makeup is involved, even if a little hair zhuzh is involved. But the idea is, if you can do some level of exploration, and it doesn't have to be with a professional, it can be on your own. If you can do some level of exploration about the colors that I want to talk about color for a second, but I'll just
yeah, I
say,
wanted to ask you about color.
yeah, the colors that work well for you, and we'll talk about what that means, because there are, like 7 different factors there. Um,
Mm,
a fit that looks presentable, but it does not constrain you, actually feels comfortable on your body and on your skin. And some of us are just more sensitive to things than others. When you look at yourself, that's what I care about the most. Number one, when you look at yourself, open up a Zoom test window and check it out. When you look at yourself, are you happy about it? That's
mm,
the most important thing, because something we're not happy about, it doesn't mean we're judging ourselves. It doesn't mean we're fashionistas, but it can be very distracting in a very real way. And so even though I do what I do today, right 5 minutes before I came to meet you, I opened up my own Zoom window and checked my shot and my angle. And sometimes it's just, even little things like just tip your laptop lid, what do you call that? Forward
yeah,
just a little or back. Like sometimes it's a small adjustment you can make and you will look, better to yourself. Right. And then there's this other idea of visual credibility. Can people focus on your face and what you're saying more so than the rest of the picture? So it's wonderful to look great or have style, whatever that means to you. But if you are a communicator in your business, are you the focus of the picture, and can you keep people's focus? So that could be as simple as you may have heard people say, "Oh, that dress is wearing them."
mm,
Something like that. And that's just comes from the idea of what you might see. Or if you ever watch red carpet, this is a great place to see this kind of thing. Sometimes you see the person looking incredible, and then you also notice what they are wearing that may be very beautiful too. And then sometimes you see a beautiful garment and the person is a little bit lost to you visually, like you notice them second. And
mm.
that's okay when fashion is the focus, but when you are the focus, you can have whatever beautiful thing at any price point these days, because we have so many options, and still maintain this idea of visual credibility, so that you can do what you're really trying to do, which is use your voice, get your message out there, sell your stuff so that you can help people, and all of the things that we know.
Gotcha. Any rules about colors? Never wear yellow. Don't wear red. Don't.
So, okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. There's a psychology to color, of course. Certain colors are more approachable than others. And based on the situation, that may be a very important factor. Certain colors will energize you. Certain colors will, to some level, de-energize you. It's individual to all of us.
Mm.
There are colors that support our complexion and those that don't as much, meaning in certain colors, we look at our most youthful and awake and smooth complexion and all of these things. And actually, some colors can help your eyes and your teeth look whiter versus others. And so that's about our undertone, not overtone. So you don't generalize too much as someone like me to say, oh, because that person has this color hair and this color eyes, this is their color palette. And I think, depending on what you've come across in life, you may have come across color experts or color palettes. The idea that there's a set of colors only, that's great. But the reality is all of us have blues that look wonderful on us, but my blues might be different than yours. They might be the same, not sure. There are certain colors that are trickier in terms of just what they do to our complexions. So you can imagine that blues and purples are a little more just generally harmonious on different skin tones, but colors like yellow and red and orange are just more acidic colors. And so it's more important to get, you'll see more of a difference if you're not wearing the ones that are supportive of you. And
Mm.
speaking of those, the ones that don't necessarily apply to all are things like pinks, orange, yellow, and black. So we'll talk about black in a second, but with pinks and oranges, let's just say like I'm wearing a bright pink sweater right now. Someone else might need a more orangey pink, but there might be still something that satisfies their want for pink, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or greens, for example, you can have more forest greens or lime greens versus more ocean blue greens, things like that. So we're really also looking at all the qualities of the colors. And sometimes if you want to play around with it and just figure things out, you can get it down to warm colors versus cool colors and bright versus muted, right? So if you can figure out, some people have complexions that are slightly muted and soft in and of themselves. And it's a little bit abstract to talk about. But for those people, when you give them colors that are slightly muted also, you can see them well. They are still the focus of that picture that we were talking about.
Mm.
And black is, before I explain this, I think that everybody should dress to make themselves happy, number one. But when people come to me, sometimes I take black away from their closet. And the reason is very specific. If they have said to me, I want to be the best communicator I can, I want to feel the best I can in my clothes, sometimes black's not it, right? For some of us, it's energizing and powerful and it looks amazing and it is supportive. And for others of us, that's not the case. And it can, have the opposite effect that we already talk about. But if you suspect that maybe black's not your thing, it doesn't mean you can't have something very close. So there are dark blues and browns and greens and purples that are almost black, but the edge is taken off. And this is also, okay, it's important on camera and in photos. So some of my clients, they enjoy black for some reason, but I tell them, please don't wear it if you're doing one of your most important things for work, or if you're doing something on camera or in a photo, don't choose black. But if you want to wear black in life, go ahead and wear it. So,
But why don't choose black for the photos?
the effects are even more exaggerated in a photo. You can,
Okay.
so if you, that's a tip that I can give too. That's easy to do at home. If you want to start seeing if a color suits you, one thing you can do is grab anything you have, a piece of clothing, a tablecloth, a towel, I don't know, in that color, put it under your face and take a selfie in some good natural light where the light's
Mm-hmm.
not directly
Mm-hmm.
on you. And then if you look at the photo, it could give you some indication.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're adding accessories.
Yeah.
To
Okay.
Majeed.
Okay. Um, so you put a color on you, you take a selfie, and then you're looking for what exactly?
Where does your eye go to your own face, or does it go down to the color first?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much wear only black. And
Black suits you.
I like it.
Yeah.
And I love not making decisions about clothes.
Yes. Decision
Um,
fatigue is one reason why people develop a type of, you could call it a wardrobe capsule or like a modular uniform of some kind. I think you need to have options,
yeah.
but it is nice to not. Here's the thing, you can have a little, you can have a lot, but if everything in your closet fits you, suits your purposes, your lifestyle, then it's not hard to get dressed, even if you are making a decision, because it's more about, if you open your closet and everything is to your specifications, let's say, and preferences for different things that you need, then you're really deciding, what's the weather? What am I doing? What is the strategic message that would help me to project today, whether it's personal or professional or both? And what's the dress code that I need? Do I just need to be casual? And so I didn't really answer. You asked me about the pandemic and what it did. People awakened to all of the casual options in some ways.
Yeah.
And we were in, fashion wise, and I'm not one of the most up there expert. I'm not so much a fashion expert. I use fashion in my work, but I do pay attention. For a long time, even before that, we were experiencing streetwear as formal wear.
Mm.
And I had recorded some 4-minute episode about sweatpants, and it was one of the highest rated, like downloaded ones or something. People were interested in that, is what I'm
Where
saying,
can we
right?
find your episodes? Are you talking about YouTube?
They're not on YouTube just yet. The podcast is called On Stage Style.
On Stage
And
Style is your podcast?
yeah, and so it's going back into production in 2023, but there are some, excuse me, really good little episodes there that you can learn more about color, or because I talk a lot about digital stage presence as well on those.
Love that. All right.
Yeah.
What's it called? Presence on Stage?
On Stage Style.
On Stage Style. Okay, let's get into the closer outfit. And I want to
Mhm.
share with you, I used to work with this business mentor who ran these 3-day events, and there would be like 30 people that would come to her castle of a house. And she had this, she has a
That's really
fascination.
funny. I
It's
love
like
it.
literally a castle.
The castle on a cloud
And
of a house.
they would come in like a limousine, and they would arrive, and she looked like Cinderella at the ball. And it was like a custom tailored dress, and it was like dripping with opulence. This was all the brand. The brand was like, if you sign up for my program, you can live in a castle and have custom tailored dresses like me, right? And she was very strategic with everything, the whole experience. And she had a day 1 outfit, a day 2 outfit, and a day 3 outfit. And the day 1 outfit, I think, was this elegance. And day 2 outfit was business. So she would go from dress on day 1 to like pantsuit, power suit on day 2. And then she would make the offer on day 2. And the offer was a $35,000 offer. And they're supposed to think about it at night and come the next day with a signed contract ready to go. And the third day was like casual. And she had like torn jeans and a graphic t-shirt. And she explained to me that it was like, day 1 is to imagine yourself as Cinderella. Day 2 is like, it's business time and it's going to be hard out there if you don't sign up for my program. And day 3's outfit was supposed to give the signal of like, I don't really care if you sign up or not. I'm in my Sunday outfit with my torn jeans. I'm just hanging out with my cup of tea and just casually dressed over here. But it was all very strategic to
Yeah.
drive sales.
Yeah, of
So
course.
what do you make of all that? And what advice do you give to someone who wants to maximize sales at their event?
That makes perfect sense to me. And I'll give you an example from my world that somewhat aligns with what you just said, actually. And I think that this is a very interesting and good thing for people to consider. And you use the word experience. And that is what I encourage you to think of, how you put yourself together visually as part of the experience you're giving to yourself daily. and part of the experience you are creating for others. And in a business sense, it's truly part of your marketing. It's part of your campaigns. It's part of your brand messaging if you are one of the people who speaks on behalf of your business. So what you want is your style, your clothing and grooming, makeup, if applicable, style to be a preview and an echo of who you say you are, what you stand for. And so let it be a natural part of the communication, and it can be strategic and calculated and authentic. That's what I really want people to take away. I created this idea called profitable presence, and it's 2 ingredients. It's intentional authenticity plus image intelligence. So being intentional about your authenticity means that you have thought about it, means that you have asked yourself what you really want. And so many don't. And that's okay. It's not a natural part of, it's not something we're taught necessarily. And then the image intelligence part is all the little strategic pieces. What am I selling? What makes sense to wear? What are the conditions? All of these things, right? So if you put those 2 ideas together and you are creating first impressions and continued impressions that genuinely represent you and that are helping you, they're actually directly helping you to connect and close deals and other things. So one of my clients that has encouraged me to use his story to help people is a guy called Stu McLaren. He's a speaker. He's a podcast host. He's an expert marketer, and that is relevant. He's a very casual guy when it comes to dressing. He's a jeans and t-shirts guy. And he heard me kind of talking about how, not all jeans and t-shirts are this created equal. And like we could do, we knew each other, and I made a suggestion and he was up for it. He said, sure, I'm game. Let's see. And so we ended up, long story short, switching out particular jeans and t-shirts for other jeans and t-shirts. And I added in a few other types of casual pants and casual tops. But he is someone who runs a 3-day event, getting back to your amazing example. So it's parallel, but a little more maybe accessible in terms of the clothing type. So on the first day, I had gotten him like a special dress shirt or 2 over the years. And we've decided, he said to me, I really don't want to wear a collar anymore. I said, okay, they're gone. But for the first couple of years, you wore a dress shirt on day 1, casual, but interesting, and a more rare shirt. So I like to put my clients who speak in things that people that are natural looking on them, and they feel comfortable and they love them and all that stuff. But when someone sees it, they don't necessarily know, oh, that's that Banana Republic shirt I saw last week at the mall. And there's nothing wrong with wearing that stuff. Some people come to me though for something more unique. And so I put him in, one of the ones he has from a boutique in New York, and it, had a particular fabric and color, and he rolls up his sleeves. So I need to know what's it going to look like underneath when the sleeves are rolled up.
Yeah.
And he wore jeans, and we switched out sneakers that you could run in for different types of sneakers, like more stage sneakers. And he loves Adidas, and he had Stan Smiths for him, things like that. But it was a dress shirt and jeans on day 1. On day 2, he makes an offer. And for that day, I chose a top in a gorgeous color that really suited his just personality as well as look good on him. Right. It had a sense
top,
of that outfit.
when you say a top, is that a t-shirt or
So it was actually a long sleeve. It was a long sleeve t-shirt that had a bit of like a waffly texture in it. So this gorgeous casual thing by a Canadian brand. And it just had a sense of fun. And he wore casual pants that were not jeans, but he had sneakers, and it just, people need to be able to move around. That's the other thing. What's your speaking style? You need to be able, I have one client, a different person, not Stu, that, needs to make particular movements. And before he decides yes to something, he makes those movements.
Okay.
He tries out the clothes, right? Like very physical. Yeah. And then on the 3rd day, he wore one of his own t-shirts from the program and a different pair of jeans but yes, to your point, that was a little more casual. And that 3rd day was the most casual day. So, and the thing about day 1, if you're running a multi-day event, even when people know you and love you, there's still this idea of demonstrating some credibility, right? So you don't have to be in a ball gown or in a suit necessarily or in a tie, but you might want to be in a suit or a suit jacket or, and typically with live events, there are also people who don't know who you are and now they're here. Hello, I'm here. What is this? I've
Oh,
been
yeah,
to
yeah,
those
yeah.
too. I've been,
Yeah.
and so that you can think of as, morning one of day one is like the first impression of the event and sets a bit of a tone as well.
Mm,
And it's also nice to not have a super noticeable difference between day one and day two. People will notice what you're wearing because you're standing up on a stage in front of them and they're just looking at you.
yeah.
So they will notice. But when there is a smooth transition between day one and two outfits, and some people do costume changes too, depending on what's happening. But when it makes sense for who you are and what you're talking about and what is happening at the event or even in the Zoom. So I figured color would come up. Made sense for me to not wear black today. Small
Hmm.
example,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I was telling you about this networking event that I went to a couple weeks ago, before we press record. So it was at an art gallery and it was like $100 ticket. And I was expecting entrepreneurs and, $100 ticket, like we're weeding out some of the people who can't afford $100 ticket. And I'm expecting people to be there in a suit
Mhm.
and or a gown, maybe not black tie, but
Every time you say gown, just like
maybe
think of
maybe
a
the word is
fairy tale in
dress.
a castle.
Yeah.
I'm not teasing you. It's like cute. It's like I picture like a princess turned up.
Yeah. So I wore the most ridiculous outfit, and I will say that it was the best fashion choice I've made in a long time. So I wore these remarkable shoes. And when I say remarkable, it's like you cannot not remark on these shoes. They're fabulous. I wore a red wine color burgundy suit with a navy blue and white horizontal striped sailor style t-shirt with a couple of necklaces, blue glasses, and a fur coat that took over the entire party.
Mhm.
I'm saying there was 300 people there and there's not a single person who didn't see my fur coat. There's not a single person who didn't comment on my fur coat. People were coming up to me telling me that the fur coat was like the talk of the night. People were coming up and petting me. People were coming up and
I'm
saying,
always cold at networking. I would have been like, can I get under one arm?
people were asking for pictures, and I almost left it in the car because
Yeah.
I was arriving with two people and I was like, this coat is ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous in any setting at all, let alone a networking event. And it was like indoors and it wasn't even cold out. It was kind of a little chilly, but like you didn't even need a jacket. And I ended up keeping it on the entire night. I was sweating like crazy, but it was just so effective at getting people's attention. And I met one person and turned it into a $7,000 client within the week.
Mhm.
And now I'm attributing that to dress wild, make money. I really love how that made me feel. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm like, I should probably just act like a celebrity because it would be wrong for me to not act like a celebrity and be wearing this. And I think I'd like to be doing that all the time.
You basically rolled in with artist mystique. That's
Yes.
how I would, or you could just say rolled in like a rock star, and anyone can do this on different levels. If someone does not have your preferences of being that much the center of attention, or doesn't think that they can put something like that together, it's just the idea that is super helpful and extremely effective. And I love this story because it did translate into a sale for you. And even if it didn't, how many people did you meet who now will remember you? So being unforgettable
Hmm.
is about turning up the volume on who you really are sometimes,
Yeah.
right? And someone could achieve maybe not everybody would remark on something that was not so conspicuous, but you can achieve that with interesting accessories and interesting pattern mixing, unusual colors that suit you and that you love, because if you think of most people not necessarily putting as much thought into their outfits, you can
Mhm.
create something that sometimes, like I wear big necklaces sometimes just because I like them, but that's something very small compared to the story you told, and that would make people come and talk to me also. And
Yeah.
so it's if you want to think of it as an icebreaker and a ramp for people to run up and be your friend,
Yeah.
it's a great tool that is underused for sure.
Yeah. You said all the words that I want to be associated with. So unforgettable. Yeah, I'm sure that a year or 2 or 3 or 4 years later, I will see someone and they say, "You're the guy with the fur coat at the event."
And if someone didn't catch your name, they could say to someone else from the event, "Who is the guy with the coat?" And everyone
Right.
will know.
Right. So I
You
think it
made it
would be
very easy for
great.
yourself.
I think it'd be great for me to have, I don't know how many pieces I need, but each one of these pieces where I'm going to be at an event like this, like I like wearing stuff that people can't not comment on. Like I mentioned the shoe.
So if we at any time work together, or if you obviously are capable of creating. I'm just saying what I would do is create a showstopper, or you do it, but a showstopper clothing module, right? So
Showstopper.
you
Yeah.
can have like your dad playground. I don't know the ages of your kids, but let's just say they play. You could have
Yes.
your dad playground sports clothes. You could have your dating, nice casual batch of stuff. You have your showstopper event stuff, and you could have your more classic business stuff too for the occasions where that is needed. Right. And
Yeah.
then you have your everyday casuals, but the reality is, though, there will be a lot of core pieces that can move between all of those categories. So you create like
Yeah.
a core customized wardrobe for yourself, and then you
Yeah.
have these things. And so even if you are invited to something, I started that as a joke that I had to have a rock star emergency kit because, sometimes I would get invited to a place where there would genuinely be those people or whatever. And I want to make sure I look at my coolest, my
Yes.
most badass or whatever, because that's
Yes.
in me. But you don't go there, or I don't want to go there in like the cute pink sweater and I want to go there in the version of me that is that. And
The rock
so,
star version.
yeah. And like most of us have eclectic style, actually, right?
Mhm.
We crave different things at different times, and we have different parts of our personality style that are not getting fed by our closets.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of freedom in giving that to yourself. And some people were, in terms of how they dress, socialized a certain way by whomever raised them, and they didn't know that they don't like how they dress, or they didn't get to try things. Some people grew up in a uniform or wear a uniform for work, and they don't get the chance to play around with it and figure out, what do I really love? But it's so connected. For me, it's about liberation of self-expression.
Mm.
And it's also about strategically, let's bring in those dollars too.
I grew up where my mother would say that doesn't match, would be about whatever piece and whatever piece. And then I determined that I'm unable to determine what matching means, because this is something that only my mother can tell me it matches or not. And so I would develop this thing where I would have to show someone else and I would say, does this look good together or not? Because I am not authorized to say if something looks good or not. Only someone looking at me can
Oh
tell me.
man, mothers is all I could say.
So I developed this like complete insecurity. Then I discovered this concept called capsule wardrobe, which to me meant wear the same exact thing every day. And from 2016 to 2020, I literally wore the same gray shorts that zipped on pants. So they're either pants or shorts, and the same black shirt. And I wore the same thing every day for 4 years with practically no deviation, gray and black. So zero color. And the
Did
saddest
you
thing about it is that nobody noticed. Nobody ever said anything like, "Have you been wearing that like every single day?" I think I just kind of disappeared.
did you keep doing, I'm very curious. Did you keep doing it because it was just so easy? Or did you love it and not care? Like, did you
Two
enjoy it
things.
or were you just doing it?
It was so comfortable. These pants are by a company called Prana, and
Mhm.
they're like hiking pants, and they're super breathable, and they've got like cargo pockets. They're like total dad pants. Zip away shorts turn into pants with cargo pockets. Super comfortable with a built-in belt, so I never need to wear a belt because there's a built-in like tightening thing. And then the shirt was merino wool, never smells bad, super
Yeah, great
comfortable.
fabric. Yeah.
And I can't wear anything other than merino wool now because I put something else on and I'm like, oh, cotton is itchy, right? Even my dress shirts I get from Lululemon because they're like basically workout clothes. Like they're so stretchy and soft. I just got spoiled with the comfort.
Yeah.
And then I realized I never had to go through the dance in the morning of like, does this look good with this? Does that look good with that? Is that going to match? And then colors, like I just, gray and
Okay.
black. Right.
So I'm all for simplicity and sustainability and making things easy. And also, typically people crave a little bit of variety. So there's someone that I think I mentioned this person to you before, but there's someone that I helped once who said to me, I want to be able to get dressed in the dark. And the reason was he and his wife share a bedroom and a closet, a
Mm-hmm.
lovely walk-in closet, yet, but he wakes up before her and
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't want to turn the lights on, wake her up.
Mm. Yep.
And that was actually the reason, but we laughed about it because I loved that challenge. I was like, okay, and he typically wears t-shirts and jeans, but he now has, different, but there are different t-shirts and jeans, but essentially no matter what he pulled from either pile, they were going to go together. So matching is a word that is less commonly used now than when we grew up. And so if you think about it as what coordinates or what harmonizes together, that's a
Yep.
great way to think about it, because there's color, but there's also texture and fit and just the mood of the piece, right? So if you can create, to me, a capsule is more, I don't typically use that word a lot, but I know it's a really handy word because people have heard it a lot, but that should be a sophisticatedly made mix and match system, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull out the word match there, but just that things all can go together and it's not hard to figure it out because it's been designed that way for you by you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's like a level of experimentation and a little bit of shopping. And what I'm so encouraged by is how many options there are online, and in-person options are dwindling. It's at least in Toronto.
Oh, really?
So yeah, they are, because a lot of stores that were in, I'll just call it the middle ground of pricing and quality, have closed down.
Mm.
So, and fast fashion was obviously a part of that, because and I had learned this from people who forecast market trends and whatnot. So this does not come from me. This comes from people that know better than me about this. But what had happened in general was people were either going for, let's say in physical in-person shopping, places like H&M, Forever 21, great options for people, or they were going to designers or the department stores.
Mm-hmm.
So there were all of these stores in the middle that just kind of lost their customer base effectively, I suppose.
Yeah.
And even just, I like the store J. Crew. I guess I have a part of a preppy, part preppy in my style, but it's a very handy shop because there are well-made basics in it. And I have no relationship with that store, by the way, but there are just what I consider pretty well-made basics, and the fit is good for many bodies. And that store enjoys color. So, it was like a really good place for go-to stuff, especially basics, interesting basics. And
Mm-hmm.
they closed down out of Canada. So that's one example of
Mm.
things and you can obviously still shop online. There are still people who have a really hard time shopping online, and it is a pain because some people just aren't good at returning things,
Mm-hmm.
and they end up wasting their money.
Yeah.
But to that point, if you find a shop and an item like you did, get a few of them, maybe different colors, maybe the same color, but you just want to build, you can use your wardrobe and your style to nurture yourself, which you deserve, as well as all that stuff we talked about how you can specifically help influence your audience to see how approachable you are or how credible you are.
Zayna, I know you work with people one-on-one and you go to their home and go through their closets and consult them. And I know you have a number of offerings. How can people get a hold of you if they're interested in working with you?
They can contact me at my website is profitinstyle.com is the best one for speakers to go to. And there's a contact form on there. There's also something that you can start with, which is my free quiz. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
My frizz. So and there are a couple of links on that website there for you. There's one on the homepage, certainly super easy to find. And it is about how to use your natural style to influence your sales. So what we don't want is for you to develop a style that's not authentic to you. It's just about being who you are and making sure you communicate. And then there's a button there to take you to the quiz, and it will help you to see if style that you're currently projecting might be costing you sales. So you'll also get, there will be a little report that comes directly to your email, and you'll get access to an immediate, it's about 8 minutes, the video, and it'll tell you based on the answers you gave, what you can focus on right now. And so it is like a mini training that you can take. And if you have any questions, love to hear from you and answer those questions.
Profitinstyle.com, and the quiz is there.
It is there. Yeah.
Nice. Any final thoughts you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Yes. I encourage you, if nothing else, to ask yourself, and we talked about experimenting with different looks and styles, but just give yourself a little bit of time to look at what you have, not only in your closet, and ask yourself, do I actually love this stuff? Because you can love that stuff for the exact same amount that you spend or not spend, but the other thing that I want to say is check out the digital presence that you're projecting. And is that what you want it to be right now? And it might be exactly what you want it to be. And you might want to make adjustments. And so there are small adjustments that can be made. And digital presence, your assets. So the photos that you're using all the time, the videos that you use to promote your business. Look at how you are showing up in those. And it might be nothing to do with, you might be happy with your style, but maybe you see that your energy could be a little bit more engaged or something like that. So it doesn't just have to be about the visuals, but your full image and the experience you're creating, whether it's when someone looks at a photo on your LinkedIn or on your speaker kit. So you just want the congruency. That's my encouragement. So who you are, because and you know what you're capable of. And is there at least a flash of that visible in the photo and the video?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when you step on stage, also love how you look from a 360 angle, please, because then you won't be worried about, oh, I can't turn this way, or when I sit or when I move around or jump around on stage, and however you do it. Right. So, so really make sure that, your visual image is helping you, because it's signaling people anyway. It might as well be helping you.
Yeah. Awesome. Zayna Rose, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. And thank you, dear listener of the Expert Speaker Podcast. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Expert Speaker Podcast. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and leave us a rating so that more people can discover the Expert Speaker Podcast, and so more people can be empowered to share their message. Be sure to go to www.expertspeaker.com and take the masterclass to learn how to grow your business and make money speaking. It's totally free and will change your business. If you're ready to work with Expert Speaker, you can apply. Just go to expertspeaker.com/apply, and someone from our team will be in touch with you to help you grow your business with public speaking. That's expertspeaker.com/apply. We'll see you in the next episode.